Hey guys, what's going on? Pride London here. You guys know what to do. As always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today we've got a few different articles to go through regarding some Chelsea news. Let's get straight into it. So the first article here, Roman Abramovich makes Frank Lampard decision as Julian Nagelsmann tipped to become Chelsea boss. Now, the decision that has been made, you might be a bit thinking that article is telling you he's made a decision on whether Frank's going or staying, in a way, but not directly. As you can see here, it stated that Chelsea would not look to appoint an interim boss to take charge for the remainder of the season, and if Lampard was to be axed, the search would begin for an immediate replacement. So basically what we're being told there is we're not getting a Gus Hiddink, that type of thing that just sort of comes in for a while if Lampard gets sacked, and they will just sort of take over for maybe the remainder of the season, maybe a few months until the person that we'd want to take over permanently would be available. That's not the case. What's going to happen is either Frank Lampard is given till the end of the season, no matter what happens. My suspicion is that it would probably be the case of Lampard gets till the end of the season anyway. Even though we're on bad form at the moment, if he picks it up a little bit, maybe we finish just outside the top four, which isn't ideal. Top four has to be the priority, and we have to do it this season. It's not out of reach. Like I've said before, teams need to drop points. We need to gain points, which is currently not something we're doing very well, but it is possible. And with how this league is going this year, there's teams getting weird results all over the place. So it's not out of the question, but it is going to be difficult. So it looks like Lampard will get that time to maybe try and edge us back up the table this season if things keep going badly and we keep losing and losing and losing. Then he will be sacked and we'll be appointing a permanent replacement. Of course, we've heard that Max Allegri is not an option, so he will not be the one that comes in. Tuchel is what it seems like, if it was to happen now, will be the next appointment as manager. As I said in my my recent video, I do not back that decision based on the video that Demba Ba was interviewed in recently, saying, reportedly, allegedly, that he was maybe not dismissive at all of the racist incident that happened at PSG a few months ago, that he maybe was on the side of the racist guy more so than the players, which is a concerning thing for me. So if that's the case, I absolutely don't want him at the club, and I would not want him to be our next permanent manager by any means. So there we go. Basically, we know it's Lampard till the end of the season, or we're going to get a manager that probably isn't ideal, and I'll get onto the ideal manager at the end of this video, but it's a good one. Then we have news that Chelsea have plans to integrate highly rated centre-back into the first team squad, and as you can see here, pictured is Levi Colwill, I think is how you pronounce it. He's 17 years old, so very young. He's highly rated at the club. He's in our academy, and amongst those who have close connections and insights to the youth academy, such as the Secret Scout, he's been speaking to Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea website today, and Colwill was amongst the many subjects discussed. When asked on any potential summer centre-backs for Chelsea, TSS revealed that the club actually have plans to integrate Colwill into the first team setup. He was quoted saying, "Not that I know of regarding any new centre-back targets, but there are plans to integrate Levi Colwill as a natural left centre-back more. There are a few clubs interested in him," which is an interesting one for me. Now, I don't know much about him. I've probably seen him play a handful of times, not many times at all. And whilst he's, generally been good, I never thought he would be the guy that's, 17 years old in the youth setup that would be able to progress into the first team like that. That's not the vibe I got, but I'm willing to accept that, I haven't seen enough of him. I don't know how good he is. So I'm going to trust this guy and go off this and say, he must be good if he's 17 years old and we're considering bringing him into the first team setup, whether that means just for training purposes. So he would be training with the first team, and, might get the odd appearance. Currently, how we're maybe seeing Billy Gilmour utilised. He's in the squad, maybe deserves more time, absolutely, in the case of Billy Gilmour, but he's not, he's not playing week in, week out. He would just be maybe someone to be a backup within the squad. I'm not too sure, but here's an interesting one. Obviously, Frank doesn't quite trust our centre-backs at the moment, which is crazy because Kurt Zouma and Thiago Silva was working so well. Yes, we've had a blip, but we have also been struggling to score, and put games away recently. I don't get why we're using Rudiger at the centre-back position. I personally think we should stick with Zouma, Thiago Silva, because, we saw it working. We saw them being absolutely dominant. Zuma is still statistically one of the best centre-backs in the league this season. Out of nowhere, he's been dropped from what I've seen. You know, he took a game out, and then it's just been a game after game where he's not been in the squad now, and it's a bit like, what are we doing here? We had a system that was working so well. Yes, we had a dip in form, but they were getting used to each other. They're understanding how each other plays, and now we brought Rudiger in, who to me is not good enough quality for the first team. He's fine as a backup, but I don't think that's what he wants to be. So whether this is a thing to sort of, you know, keep everyone happy, you know, Rudiger gets a bit of game time, then we'll bring Zuma back in, maybe. But right now, we need wins. We don't need to be keeping players happy. Frank especially doesn't need to be keeping players happy because he needs wins. He shouldn't be playing players just to keep them happy, to stop them wanting to leave by any means. So Frank must rate Rudiger higher than Zuma, which is crazy to me, but it seems to be what it is. And maybe Levi Colwill can come into this setup and, you know, change the defense up again. I doubt it. I don't think that's how he'll be utilized, but we'll see how it goes. Then we have news here from Simon Phillips' Twitter account. Roman Abramovich may have to wait until the summer if he wants Julian Nagelsmann to be Chelsea's next permanent manager. RB Leipzig have made it clear they will not let their highly rated young manager leave mid-season. So, bit of a blow for Chelsea if their plan was to, you know, bring him in this mid-season if things don't go well in the next couple of games. Frank Lampard gets axed. Nagelsmann will not be an option mid-season. At the end of the season, maybe. I'm sure we could get into the negotiation stage and see what we can do. You know, the fact that he was at Leipzig, he used Timo Werner, he knows exactly how to get the best out of Timo Werner, is a good thing. That would be very interesting. Maybe he'd be good at working with Kai Havertz, and, you know, the rest of the squad in general, young players, such like that. I'm sure he would do a good job with them. I'm sure you guys know my scenario, my point of view at the moment. I'm still willing to give Lampard time, unless results really are just like L after L after L after L, then that's when I'd be more considering of this. But I definitely think leaving it until the end of the season is best either way. At the end of the season, you know, it's a bit more stability. You can make the change. It's a little more palatable for each, you know, for every party involved. You got the fans that would be a little more eased with it. Frank could obviously, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. And then the club, it makes it a lot of a better look to wait until the end of the season, assess things based on how the overall season went. If it was poor, we miss out on Champions League, then fair enough, they've got reason to get rid of Lampard. Even though I do think long term he could do it, but if we're not willing to go for the long term approach yet, even though it does sound like from the reports that are coming out that the club want to move into a position of, we can't sack manager after manager after manager. Yes, we're winning trophies while doing it, but you're going to run out of good managers at some point. And it's no consistency. We have a season where we win the title, then we drop off. Get a new manager in, we win the title, then, you know, drop off again. And we've now had a few seasons without trophies. I guess we had the Europa League, which was a good win. But, you know, a bit of stability. And I'm not saying an Arsene Wenger period where we have so many years with one manager, but maybe something like 6-7 seasons with a manager to sort of let them implement their game plan and see how it goes over a period of time. If it starts to drop off, we have a bad season or two, then you bring in a new one. You know, as a club, we're very spoiled in the sense of we get rid of managers, then we win a trophy, we buy expensive players, and it all just sort of works. It's a bit of a mess, but it works. I think we need to sort of calm it down, stop with the reactionary sort of, you know, firing, boom, 5-6 games, you know, lost in out of 8. I think it's 5 out of 8 games lost, sack him. I think we need to sort of, you know, calm it down. At the end of the season, we can evaluate things, but we'll see how it goes. Of course, I'm not the one that makes the decisions. I'm a supporter of the club, so whatever Roman chooses, I'm sure it'll be down to him. Then I'll back him, but, you know, Nagelsmann will only be available in the summer, so if we're going for anyone of the names mentioned, he would be my choice, so it makes sense to wait until the summer for me. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.